Welcome to the Overgivers Anonymous podcast. My name is Angela Mondor, also known as the Geeky Girl. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about some amazing things to help you get over overgiving. Hey there, beautiful humans. Welcome back to the Overgivers Anonymous podcast. For neurodivergent entrepreneurs who are ready to build a business that actually works with your brain, not against it. I'm your host, Angela Mondor, also known as the Geeky Girl. So let me guess, you have tried every productivity system out there, the bullet journal method, the getting things done, or the getting shit done method, time blocking, Pomodoros, fancy new app that everybody raves about every once in a while. You've bought planners and downloaded templates, and you've watched all the YouTube tutorials, and yet you're still feeling scattered, overwhelmed, and like you're constantly playing catch up. Well, here's what I want you to know right now. The problem isn't you. The problem is that these systems weren't built for brains like ours. And today we're going to talk about why your organization methods keep failing and how to finally create a system that actually sticks. Now, before we dive in, I want to acknowledge something. If you're listening to this, you've probably been told that you're disorganized or scattered or you daydream or pick something, because we've been told it all. And of course, there's always those people who tell us we just need to try frickin' harder. That narrative ends today. What we're going to explore isn't about fixing you. It's about finding what actually works for your beautifully neurodivergent brain. Now, I will tell you this straight off the hop. This latest concussion has given me even more compassion, even more tools, shall we say, to work with what's happening in my brain. And I am so grateful that I get to share all of this with you. So let's talk about why traditional productivity systems fail us so spectacularly. If there's nothing else, they're really good at failing for us. It comes down to three major issues. First, most productivity advice is built on neurotypical assumptions. It assumes that you can just decide to focus and then you focus, right? Not for us. It assumes that you have a consistent energy level throughout the entire... who are these people? This is just weird, right? It assumes that you can break everything down into neat little linear steps and then just follow them. I'm really good at breaking things down into little linear steps, but to just override all of that other shit and just follow it, yeah, not my jam. You might be the opposite. We all have our unique pieces that put us together. And the best part about our brains is the fact that they think differently. And we get to do amazing things with them. So why are we stuck trying to fit ourselves into these rotten little boxes? And instead, why aren't we using our amazing brains to find new ways for it to work for us? Okay? Here's the things. Our brains don't work the way that neurotypicals do. We might hyperfocus for 4 hours straight and then need a complete break. We might have an incredible burst of creativity at 10 o'clock at night and everybody else is winding down. We might need to see the big picture before we can handle the details, or we might get completely overwhelmed with too many options or seeing too much of a big picture. It is really important to understand who you are and what works best for you. That's why it's so important for you to hear that you're not alone in this, that you're not the only one who all those damn things don't work for. All right. Secondly, there's a myth that the one-size-fits-all organization will work literally for everyone. And we know that when you go into a store and there's a one-size-fits-all size for a t-shirt, we know that's not going to fit everybody. Notice how they haven't used those in a long time. I'm aging myself, I know. We don't have those one-size-fits-all t-shirts anymore, but we used to. Anyway, they didn't work and the world threw them out. So let's throw that out as well, okay? How many times have you heard somebody say, "This system changed my life, it'll work for you too"? But that doesn't work for you. You've tried it. People have given you things. Well, here's what I want to say. What works for your neurotypical friend might be an absolute torture for you. And at the same time, one of your neurodivergent friends might try something that works for them, and it might be torture for you as well. Maybe they thrive on, especially your neurotypical friends, maybe they like those detailed schedules and, they thrive on this rigidity in those things, but you need flexibility. And maybe those people, they like those minimalist systems, but you need visual cues or color coding to function. Whatever's working for your brain, pick up on the things. Just because something doesn't work doesn't mean to say you can't get clues from it, because you can get clues from the things that don't work as well. And third, and this is huge, most systems heavily rely on willpower. Yeah, it's not really our strong suit, is it? Unless, of course, it's willpower because we believe in something strongly. And that's a completely different thing. We're talking about just productivity, which, isn't a belief system. It's a we have to get this done thing. They expect you to white knuckle your way through resistance, to push through when your brain is saying no, and to maintain the same level of motivation every single day. But willpower is a finite resource, especially for neurodivergent brains that are already working overtime just to navigate a neurotypical world. We're already at a deficit when it comes to the willpower to survive. And of course, those things are going to impact how we interact with the world, but also how it impacts our ability to get shit done. Now let's talk about the mistakes I see neurodivergent entrepreneurs make over and over again. And trust me, I've made every single one of these myself. In fact, I've probably made some extras. But mistake number one is overcomplicating simple processes. Raise your hand and those in the back. We are creative and innovative thinkers, right? So we can create elaborate, beautiful systems, and maybe they have 17 different categories and the color-coded tags and complex workflows. And we wonder why we can't maintain them. But sometimes the simplest solution really is just the best solution. Overcomplicating something will actually trigger things in our brain that won't allow us to move forward. Now, some of those things, of course, is analysis paralysis. So when we overcomplicate something, it's going to help our analysis paralysis. And we don't need analysis paralysis to give any help at all, right? Mistake number two is trying to organize everything all at once. I call this organization overwhelm. You decide you want to get your life together, so you tackle your email box, your physical workspace, your digital files, your calendar, your project management system. But spoiler alert, it doesn't work. One of the things I learned while working in IT was the simplicity of replace one thing, then test. So when a computer isn't working and you're not entirely sure, you've got some ideas, you test a known good item. So let's say, for example, I think that the RAM is shot. I'm not really sure. It seems like it could be a RAM problem, but I'm not really sure. I take a known good RAM. I know this is going to work because it's working in somebody else's computer, or it's tested and it's verified that it's valid and good. I put it in the computer I think where the other RAM is wrong. Then I test. Do I still have the same errors, or did that fix the problem? I don't change the RAM, the motherboard, the CPU, the power supply. I don't change all those things at one time, because then I don't know what the problem was in the first place. So number two is actually like that. If you try to do all those things at one time, it doesn't work, and it's going to burn you out. You'll end up abandoning everything, and you're going to feel worse than when you started. All right, mistake number three is ignoring your natural rhythms and preferences. It is way more clear to me. It has always been clear to me how important my natural rhythms are. Now is even more clear with this concussion being in a place where I have to also understand how those things have changed for me. Now, I know that as a neurodivergent person, rhythms change anyway. What works for you today might not in 6 months, those kinds of things. So we like to have some variety. But when you are aware of your rhythms and you are keen to understand those rhythms, then when they change, it's important for you to also change with them. So maybe you're a night owl and you're trying to force yourself into a morning routine, or maybe you're a visual processor trying to use text-heavy systems. Maybe you need movement breaks, but you're trying to sit still for hours. If you're fighting against your natural wiring, we're setting ourselves up for failure. There is nothing wrong with me getting up from my computer desk and going out and weeding the garden in the middle of the day. That is good, not only for my mental health, but also it's good for my creativity. I joke a lot when I'm well. I actually have a dog who I call her my office manager because she's very good at getting me up. She pretends she has to go to the bathroom, but it makes me get up and I have to walk around. If I get distracted and I don't come back to my desk fast enough, she sits outside my office door and stares at me until I go, oh yeah, I've got to go back to work. Do what works for you. Obviously, I don't totally rely on everything, but definitely is the office manager around here. But when you can understand what those rhythms are for you, if you know that you're somebody who works well in a noisy environment, then make yourself a noisy environment. I don't work well in those. Like, I can't go work in a coffee shop for any particular length of time. I'm too distracted by all the noises and the movements and those kinds of things. But for some people, they love that. If I forced myself to work the coffee shop because I thought, quote unquote, everybody else does, I should too, I wouldn't be servicing myself. I wouldn't be providing my best services and my best brain power to my business as well as my clients. All right. So what does brain-friendly systems actually look like? So here's some principles that I encourage you to think about. So first, know your processing style. Are you a visual person who needs to see everything laid out, or do you prefer simple text lists? Do you need a lot of detail, or does that cause overwhelm for you? There is no right or wrong answer here. You have to figure out what works well for you and your brain. I have clients who thrive in elaborate visual dashboards and others who need nothing more than a simple notepad. Both are valid. In fact, I love working from a black and white list. I'm not really into a whole bunch of colors, other than being able to tell if something's done or not based on a color. But I don't need all of these elaborate colors, but some people do. If you need it, use it, okay? Start to pay attention, because you might be thinking, I have no idea what kind of a processing style I have. Start testing things and start to feel what works best for you. I've always had a problem with doing work and then having to take a test. So like, school was an absolute nightmare for me, because I could do the work in class, and then when I went to do the test or the exam, I would totally bomb. What I have learned about myself, having taken certifications and all kinds of things now, is that I need to see it, hear it, and I also need a physical connection to it as well. So watching or listening to a video, it doesn't matter. Listening to audio where the words are, but also reading them at the same time, if I'm trying to absorb information, is very, very valuable for me. I'm a doodler too. Doodling helps me to pay attention and focus as well. Doing all of those things helps me to retain the knowledge better than if I'm doing just one of those things at a time. Now that's just me. So figure out what works best for you and then try to apply it to all situations. Look for different ways that you can apply these things to how you work. So if you are a paper and pen person, fantastic. But that doesn't mean to say you shouldn't also be keeping the information in a digital world either, right? So you could still use ClickUp to put your stuff together, but maybe you need to write it out in the morning in order to focus on getting it done. That's totally cool. The nice thing about putting it into a system like ClickUp is that it holds it for you. So you're not holding stuff in your own brain. There's one of the worst things we can do is actually keep all of our to-do lists in our brain, and then we're so focused on not forgetting those things, we can't do other things, okay? So find a way to understand what your processing style is. How does it work for you? And if you don't know, just try a few things and see which one feels best. And that's your answer, okay? For now, and adjust it as it goes. Now, as I say, adjust it as it goes, the second thing is to embrace a flexible structure. I know this may sound like an oxymoron, but hear me out. You need enough structure to create predictability and reduce decision fatigue, but enough flexibility to accommodate your changing energy levels, interests, and life experiences. So, for example, I know that I have certain times in my calendar that are blocked out for client calls. And then I have other times blocked off in my calendar where it is more fluid time. And every Friday in the summer, my husband and I, we call them Freedom Fridays, we disappear. Fridays are just off limits, no go. Do not work on Fridays. That's because my husband's a teacher and he's off all summer. And so we've decided to make one day a week a date day. So we go and head out to usually we head out to the lake, but anywhere there's water, or we go hiking or whatever, we do some beautiful outdoorsy kinds of things on Fridays. So put those kinds of things in your schedule, what works out for you. You can still have structure, you still have some sort of framework to that, but it can be adjusted to fit with your energy levels, okay? So if you're thinking about like jazz music, there is structure to it, but they can bebop along and improvise within the framework of the jazz piece of music, okay? Same thing with the structure of my schedule. I know that I work on certain things better in the morning time than I do in the afternoon. So to be able to move those things around within that framework allows me to be more flexible and to be able to say, hey, I have more energy today, I can do this, versus, oh, this is a lower energy day, so I can do these kinds of things. It helps me to be more flexible within that structure, but gives me enough structure so that I can add some predictability to the way I work. Now, this is crucial. The third thing is to work with your hyperfocus, not against it. Now, traditional productivity tools and advice tells you that you need to take breaks every 25 minutes. But when you are in a hyperfocused state and making incredible progress, honor that. Build systems that can flex with your natural rhythms instead of forcing you into artificial constraints. I know, for me specifically, and I know other people as well, when I get into a hyperfocus mode, I just want the entire world to stop around me. I am in a place where shit's getting done and I'm being productive and I'm finally tackling things that I'm super, super excited about or I'm really inspired by or whatever the case may be. And I just need to be able to say, you know what? I'm in it and I'm staying in it until it gets done. So I make sure that my days are set up so that when that happens, because we can't force it to happen, but when it happens, I'm free to be able to let it happen. So that's why I take my client calls in the morning, because generally speaking, I'm not going to hit one of those moments first thing in the morning. Those are usually for my afternoons, is usually when I hit one of those runs. And so I don't take client calls in the afternoon, so I never have to worry about forgetting a call because those are happening in the morning. That's what works for me. Okay, so those are the things that I encourage you to think about when you're thinking about how you can build a brain-friendly system for yourself. Now, let's get practical. Sustainable systems. And here's some frameworks. I'll give you some steps to create some organization methods that will actually stick for you. Now, first of all, I want to tell you that sticking for us means working for a while. It doesn't mean to say it's going to work for the rest of your life, but it'll stick for now. It'll give you the ability to understand yourself better and to move forward and to be able to use this system moving forward to make changes to a current system. Okay? So, first of all, start with one, just one, not 3, not 5, not 10, one area that's causing you the most pain right now, okay? Not everything at one time, just one. Maybe it's your email box that's giving you anxiety every morning that you go there, or maybe it's your project files you can never find. Whatever it is, find one thing, and that one thing is, if you fixed it now, it would give you a greatest sense of relief. Then, number 2, build habits around existing routines. I don't know about you, but I have read Atomic Habits, absolutely love habit stacking, which is exactly this idea. So instead of trying to create new habits from scratch, instead you take the new system and you put it onto something that you already do consistently, okay? So first and foremost, let's say every morning you go and get yourself a cup of coffee. And one of the things that would make your day better is that you're trying to implement is that you want to plan your day first. You want to start your day knowing what tasks are most important to you. So I would encourage you that right by the coffee machine, you would either leave your day planner with a pen, so you don't have to go looking for a pen, or remind yourself with a sticky note that you're going to plan it however it is that you plan your day, whether it's in your daily planner or you're using ClickUp or some other SaaS program, but leave yourself a sticky note on the coffee machine because you're going to go there first, okay? That'll help you to habit stack that new habit, okay? Because you're already consistently going for coffee, so now you would have the ability to go ahead and review your daily priorities. That's when you're going to do it. That's when it reminds you to get that done, okay? Step 3, schedule regular system check-ins and adjustments. And this is where most people fail. We set up a system and then we never revisit. We never go through it again, and we can't figure out why it falls apart, or geez, I did that for 10 days and then it's been 5 since I've done it again. This is where we fail, is because life changes, business evolves, your life shifts, all kinds of things go on. And sometimes it's just we become complacent, right? You stop putting the sticky note on the coffee maker, or you decide, oh, I've been doing it for 5 days, I'm good, and you do it for another 5, and then all of a sudden you fall off the bandwagon, whatever. But build yourself the ability to check in. Here's what my habits are, and here's what I'm trying to accomplish You can then build in monthly or quarterly reviews, and you can honestly assess where you're at and where you're trying to go. Checking in is one of the most important pieces you can possibly do, regardless of whether it's for these types of things where you're trying to build new habits in your business or if you're trying to accomplish goals. The set and forget method doesn't really work for us. It's very important to check in, see how things are going, okay? So if you're ready to stop fighting against your brain and start working on it, I encourage you to go through and do some of this brain-friendly systems stuff for yourself. To go back and think about how do I work best? What is it that I need in order to succeed? And remember, you're not broken. You do not need fixing. You just need systems that were actually designed for brains like yours. If this episode resonates with you, please share it with another neurodivergent entrepreneur who might need to hear this message. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of the Overgivers Anonymous podcast. Until next time, keep being your beautifully authentic self. And remember, your neurodivergent brain isn't a bug. It's a feature. Thank you so much for listening to the Overgivers Anonymous podcast. Your support means the world to me. You can find show notes for this episode and other goodies at overgiversanonymous.ca. And if you enjoyed this episode or you enjoyed the podcast in general, why not join us in the Overgivers Anonymous Facebook group, where you can connect with overgivers from all over the world. Head on over to geekygirl.ca/group.